Betwixt the raising of the undying emperor and the great planner war that shook the heavens, there was an age of contradiction. Where cannons won kingdoms and muskets kept the peace, a brave few won the hearts of the conquered and conquerors alike. Of these we speak, of the decline of great kingdoms and cultures under the heel of empire. Of those we speak of the gladiators and the untold thousands that aspired to be them. Of this, an age of glory, where kings would be slaves and a gladiator would be king. Good afternoon and welcome to Die Dragon Die Presents the Dread and Circus Campaign, episode 7? I'm your DM and host Marty, joined by Adam and Ahmed. How's everyone doing today?
We're doing alright.
What's going on, guys?
Yep.
I have obviously put much effort into my hair to get it this must looking.
I'm a little disheveled today too. I slept in a little bit later than I normally do, which kind of like compacted everything. We got a little bit of a late start today. Apologies for that. But we are here and we are live. How is your week?
You guys got sleep in. I woke up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, well, you were continuing your line.
Daddy!
Whereas our genetic material is still locked in ourselves.
we're holding on to our potential.
Right.
It's all
I
good.
pulled 500 pounds this week, which puts me on the verge of being strength 18. I'm strength 17 and a half right now. Almost strength 18.
You pansy! Nothing to Magnus.
You know what I did yesterday after work? I took a nap. And then I watched the rest of the Rome series. Like I've seen the series a couple of times, but yeah, I'm like, we're kind of running this Romanesque sort of thing. It's like a mixture of like Renaissance and a little bit later culture plus Roman, plus they've taken over a bunch of medieval type kingdoms that are fantasy based, so it's a whole weird mix.
It's a mishmash.
Yeah, it's a mishmash. Which D&D fantasy tends to end up being the second you're like, oh, I got the one guy who wants to use guns. That's me looking at Ahmed's face.
It's always him.
Yeah. All right. How was your week, Ahmed?
It was alright.
How are you feeling?
Doing alright.
Yep.
Alright. Missed the midweek game, but hopefully be good.
Glad you're still upright.
Few headaches.
Yes.
All right.
Headaches,
Well, you
but
bring
we're good.
Ahmed up to speed. I'm gonna go pick up my wife and father-in-law from the train station because timing is one of everything.
It's one of the great things that family are always great for.
Happy wife, happy game.
All right, so
Happy wife get to have game.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna catch you up on what happened last game. So last game we concentrated on the slaves and newly minted gladiators that are traveling up the road of sorrow. Actually, you missed that kind of part. So Arland, Edward, and Snowbeard prove themselves in combat against the Conjurer's monsters amidst the four pillars of the old gods. Somehow they broke out the crit machine and just critical hit the universe and won.
Arlen for days.
Arlen did support the party well. He was able to revive Snowbeard. He blessed the party. He also saved Edward from some attacks from a fiendish crocodile by readying an action to cast protection from evil to kind of like spoil the attack. Mm-hmm. Of course, once Edward started attacking, that part of the protection went down. But he was able to set up some flanks and kind of get in there and support the team. So it was really good. Undwin, if you remember, the boy conjurer, was thrown into the ring after disappointing his master for the last time. Ugg, now Undwin, he was part of the crit machine. He's like, I'm gonna make this first level weakling wizard boy, like he's got the young simple template. If you're familiar with the Pathfinder rules, I'm like, I'm gonna just make him swing his quarterstaff. He critted with his quarterstaff. And he didn't kill the crocodile, but
a fighter.
Right. Undwind now has stats, so you'll notice that there's a page for Undwind in the character section on our OneNote. Ugg is punished for touching a conjurer outside the arena during the fight. Do you remember when Ugg?
Yeah.
On Ugg's fight, he ran up to the conjurer boy and grabbed like that wand device out of his hand. Apparently, that is a rule that is a no-no to like touch people outside of the ring, especially conjurers. You're supposed to fight their monsters, not the conjurer. So they tried to whip him, but he's got too thick of a skin to actually be affected by a regular whip. Like his natural armor bonus is +3. He does not get affected by a whip. So they whipped him a bunch of times and like, what's going on? So then they decided that they would take a hammer and the hammer to one of his arms and strike his arms at the joints 3 times. I believe there was a hero point that was spent to first there was a negotiation. Sam jumped in and said, no, punish me. So he got some whippings. And then there was a negotiation between the masters, and they moved it down to like 1 hammer blow. But he still had to make a fortitude save in order not to have like his arm like crippled or have like major penalties. There was a hero point that was used to save Ugg's hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made the save. So that was good. He still has damage, and by the time you get to the next place, though, he'll probably be healed. Arlen, Thalana is involved in a trade between the masters. So Thalana, after the master realized that she's an alchemist, the Grand Conjurer bought her from from what was his name? Zamocles Branderson Lips.
Yeah.
He bought her basically, which may have been involved in the trade between Undwind and her. Like that might have been a trade that happened. Recall that Snowbeard blew up the Conjurer's laboratory, blamed it on Undwind, and now the dude doesn't have a laboratory. An alchemist rolls into town. He might, it sort of made sense. Arlen, Edward, Sam, Snowbeard, and Ugg take the gladiators' oath. Let me paste once again what that oath is.
We are about to die before you salute you. Something like that.
It does have death in it. So there was an amusing scene where Snowbeard was trying to convince people that Snowbeard wasn't his name, and they didn't really care. Apparently, Snowbeard was the name that the Imperials gave to him, and therefore that is his legal name. The Imperials are not nice people, or they have an institution that is not nice.
Their butts. I want the heroes back.
Arlen, Edward, Sam, Snowbeard, and Ugg all swore the gladiators' oath, and they were branded, and they are now officially gladiators.
What a bunch of asses!
Undwind is forced into indentured servitude, and his debts are sold to a new master, i.e., Zamocles. And along the road of sorrow, the caravan meets Radimer Fink, a necromancer and corpse collector, who is now traveling with you guys.
Radimer Fink. Was he just like a dude walking through a street, or what?
He was pulling his corpse cart along the road, and he was blocking the way and needed some help to get a particularly stinky corpse into the back of his wagon. And basically they passed the buck down to the slaves, and it was Snowbeard and Rockland. What's his name? Not Rockland. The little
Sam.
Yeah, it was Snowbeard and Sam that helped him.
So it was
Iggy Pop.
Radimir looks familiar.
Yeah, this is a character that we played a little bit in a past campaign. He was an NPC in the past campaign, and he worked out fine. So I'm going to rehash some of the offline material into the online material, because after 30 years of DMing,
you get an inventory.
Right, you end up having an inventory of things. Is it 30 years? No, it's not quite 30 years. It's like 25 years. Crap, I'm old.
198.
Crap, I'm old. That's maybe why I had a nap after work yesterday.
I got up, went to the bathroom, got really tired.
No, I don't get tired from the washroom. I then got up and stayed up until 4 in the morning. So that was, after an hour nap, it was awesome. All good. Watch the Rome series and all that stuff.
Does he speak like this?
He does have an interesting inflection. I did go and watch a couple of Iggy Pop interviews to see if I can get it, and then I realized that Iggy Pop speaks like he's from Detroit. He's like there's a bit of a strange accent that wasn't expected.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So they met Radimer Fink along the road. Now, I think today, I asked the players beforehand, I'm like, where do you want the focus to be? Because we've been switching between 3 places. The Imperial City, the Road of Sorrows, which is kind of like an overland journey. And then we've actually gone once with Mark into a town called Vatapol and like learned what a mercenary gladiator is up to. So I think they said, let's play the Masters because 2 out of 3 of us are here. So we'll go back to what Magnus and Phineas and Ashoka are up to in the Conclave of the Crimson Sands, and it might be worth recapping what happened in the game before last. Basically, that.
Oh, but can the stream handle it?
This was called the Nyx incident. So Ashoka, Phineas, and Magnus concoct a plan to sabotage the alchemical flame throwing device that will be used by the Hilt in the upcoming mock naval battle in the Hippodrome. Ashoka and Magnus procure a keg of gunpowder from an alchemist at the Vespers market. Phineas learns spells to make his familiar, the Raven Nyx, strong enough to carry the weight of the keg. Magnus is convinced by the gladiators of his stable to join them in the incoming spectacle as a gladiator. In the reenactment of the Battle of Sagwan Tears, Magnus pulls off a magnificent show before the gathered mob, Imperials, and the young prince himself. Nyx's flight proves to turn the tide of battle, and Magnus's courage becomes known to all.
Oh, Magnus!
Several things that were maybe a little bit odd that happened during the fight, like the who's who and the what's what of people in the Imperium and the Imperial City. We kind of went through that in the last game. I enjoyed that part almost as much as everything else, which was giving you guys a hint at some of the politics that are going on by introducing you to maybe the players. Some of the things that happened that may not have been that may have been overlooked by you guys, but are definitely not overlooked by your characters. There was a boy thrown into the ring. His name is Falcon, and a paladin that Magnus is pretty certain could have beat the crap out of him, instead surrendered so that he could keep the boy safe and spirit him away into the labyrinth beneath the Tri-Colosseum. Now, the labyrinth beneath the Tri-Colosseum has the city keeps their slaves and their gladiators there. It is not a clean place. It is why you do not want to be owned as a slave by the city. They don't necessarily look after their slaves like, say, private owners would. But it is the place where somewhere in the labyrinth is headquartered one of the major houses, or one of the major stables, of the gladiatorium. And they are called...
Oh, yeah, these are the guys that actually believe in the five-faced god, right?
The Brotherhood of the Unbroken Bond are the honor-bound stable that actively supports the Imperium. Their members tend to be human, and they do have supporters of the five-faced god, chief amongst their worship. They're called the Unbroken, or the Unshackled. So a paladin of the Unshackled, for some reason, spirited away this boy, claiming that he knows things about the Imperium.
Because Magnus was putting on the show and he's being carried away. Look at me, don't look at the boy.
This boy was the whipping boy of the Imperial Prince, whose 7th birthday was the cause of this great and wonderful celebration. And horrible display of carnage. Most of those that took part in the fight died. In fact, we can count on 2 hands the survivors of the shark-filled.
Oh, it was
of the
Magnus
shark-filled.
is 4 guys, the kid, and two paladins. That's it.
Yeah, a paladin, a monk, the kid.
Yep. And
His
then
4
fighters,
guys,
and Magnus.
and 1 guy from the hilt. 1 guy from the hilt joined you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
wonderful. It's a wonderful display. Well, there's some people in the crowd that think it was a wonderful display. However, the crowd's sentiment at the end, realizing that so many died in such a short period of time in such a violent and destructive manner, began to sing a song. Now, the song was really simple, but in other times, the song, you know, if an individual tried to sing this song, they'd likely be censored or find themselves before a court of the Inquisition of the Five-Faced God. When the entire crowd, including Imperials and subjects alike, start to begin to sing the song of the old gods called the Drawing Down, which is basically a song that is sending the souls of those who have died off to the places where they're supposed to go. That is how the fight ended. Was sort of like a somber celebration of what they had just seen, or a way to maybe wash themselves of the guilt of partaking and being a participant in the overall machinery of the gladiatoria. The prince wasn't singing. The major players, most of them were not singing, but the people were. Subjects and citizens alike. The schism has begun. Oh, the schisms are probably already there. And this may be a symptom of some problems to come in the future. Or it just might be a nice send-off for the souls of those who have died.
And then he died.
Sir Prentice Pennywise is overjoyed at what he has done, to the point where he's making fun of some of the other leaders of the major stables. Little does he realize at this point that his stable has been reduced to 5 gladiators, 4 of which are slave-bound or contract-bound, and the 5th is, well, Magnus.
Magnus.
Yes, there are people that celebrate and cheer Magnus's victory. Magnus, you do leave with your gladiators. People are throwing flowers and chanting your name, and people are waving. I believe this is a good time for us to introduce who these 4 gladiators are. I believe at the end of last game we rolled up some random characters, and then in the off week we actually applied, in our spare time we built some of these characters' character sheets. So. First, we have Bull. Bull, if you recall, was the 6th, 4th level hunter. So there's Bull. There's your toughest gladiator. Now, Bull is a cattle rancher. He's kind of dim. You don't know exactly his full story, but you know that he has a way with animals, and that he's been training a particular war bull to fight in the arena. Training in that he rides a bull into battle, and when him and his bull lance something, simultaneously charging it with great bull horns, it is a swath of destruction. He is a man of few words because Int 6 is kind of in the territory of Forrest Gump.
I would even say a little bit below.
A little bit below Forrest Gump, yeah. But he really likes animals, so as long as you
a cup of water.
as long as you yeah. All right, so that is Bull. Then we've got the 20 int.
Is that the guy from Night Court?
That is the guy from Night Court.
Oh, I was like, I know that dude. all right, cool. And his name is Bull. Okay, cool. All right, that's
all right.
how old I am.
So we have the 20 int, 17 strength, 14 charisma, bard arcane duelist, who's a winemaker's son. He's a Samsaran, who is the other gladiator, 2nd level duelist. So let's get the Samsaran out there.
You know, if that bomb hadn't gone off on the ship,
you would still have your healer, Arlen
I
of
would still
Palor.
have all of the guys. Well, most of the guys would still be there.
Yeah, you rolled really well, aside from the Nyx incident, which is why we
I'm
called it
like a
that.
bird.
All right, so here's Sona. Sona
You
is
knew the plan going in.
Sona
we
is
didn't have a choice.
Sona is your smart battle bard. You know that if you were a spellcaster, you would know that for some reason, because of spirits of his past people, he knows some wizard spells alongside his bard spells. So True Strike and Shield are on his bard list.
Those are good spells.
Magnus, take this.
And he's a whip fighter. So he basically casts True Strike, and then whoosh, and then either the person's tripped or there's no weapon in that person's hand.
There's a weapon, and then you beat him. Get him.
Right. Okay. So he's a whip fighter. That is Sona. He comes from a family of winemakers. In fact, they once owned a vineyard, and still
I
might.
believe winemakers are called whiners.
No, wine people who own and tend to vineyards are called. There's a term for it. Vigneron.
Such
Vigneron. Vigneron.
Sling
Vigneron.
Vigneron.
Yes.
It is a little bit. It is a French term for those that actually tend the wineries, whereas vintner or vintner would be those that sell wine. So he's from a family of vignerons, and at first the Imperium, under the Imperial yoke, the Imperium liked the Imperial citizens and nobles alike like wine. They were largely left alone because they were able to bribe, but it wasn't until the coming of the Imperial Inquisitors that they realized that these Samsarans, who constantly reincarnate themselves into new forms, weren't following the new ways. They were following the old ways, and very strange old ways at that. So in order for his family to continue their mystical religious practices, Sona had to become a gladiator. So basically, as long as he is sponsoring his family, then they may have some protections under the law of Pax Tempi Religio.
Another reason the Empire needs to go down.
It's not the worst service in the world.
We've got Zor. Zor was the 1st level lawful good elf magus. I decided to allow him to be a Myrmidarch, which means he's a magus that sticks spells into arrows. 1st level. He was one of your Tempi.
Santa Claus.
Every once in a while, he fires an arrow, and it helps out. And then we've got Fleas, which was the really oddball. It was the neutral good Knoll gladiator aristocrat. So basically, Fleas was born into slavery from some aristocratic Arcean family. Like, they were from the continent. They taught him ways of fighting, and then eventually just sold him into gladiatorial service. We'll say that his master died, and his heirs did not want Fleas. Like that was.
Oh, what do you mean, don't fleas?
Right.
Come on, don't fleas. Everyone wants fleas.
We discussed it. He has a British accent. I am Mr. Fleece. Why would
if we look at that token, I think Adam's voice is appropriate.
something in my throat keeps coming?
Now, I think Fleas is pretty smart, and he's the only one who is actually trained as a gladiator.
He is a gladiator.
Yep.
He's got acrobatics and a perform and bab and a decent charisma and is good with shields because it's fun to hit people with a shield.
So, Magnus, these are the people who you brought through this crucible of fire, death, explosions, battle, and sharks. And
Magnus is still dreaming of chicken wings.
And at this point, these 4 people would likely follow you to the ends of the earth. In fact, there's a little section in our OneNote called Magnus's Gladiators.
And they're there.
You joined them, and you pulled these 4 through. through thick and thin, through an amazing fight that those who might be a little wiser on the outside knew the odds were incredibly stacked against you. This was a fight you were not supposed to win.
But Cord saw the power of Magnus's heart, the bravery and the fire in his soul, and he helped him pull through, and he watched him with glory as Magnus sliced down the enemies and took down the ships and became winner of the day. Yeah.
Awaiting in the gladiatorial wings, where in the chambers where gladiators are normally lying there and dying and spilling their guts or pissing themselves and puking before battle, there's actually several tables that have been moved into here, and what can only be described as the leftovers from some sort of imperial feast have been put there. There are goblets and decanters and big platters of that look like they've already been attacked by some people, but there is still a significant amount of food, especially for the 5 of you. There's probably food for 20 people here, and it is not some sort of gladiatorial pablum. It is it's not water and rice and flour. It is
Cooked
roast. There's half a roast pig. There are some strange looking meat pies. There are weird roasted vegetables.
Yeah.
There are bowls of exotic fruits. Yes.
Magnus, eat! You've deserved it. Come on, eat like Fleecewood.
I am not sure. I am not sure how we got out of that, says Sona, but at least there is wine. He goes over and starts pouring cups of wine.
Don't worry, it's very hard to get rid of fleas.
We should have all made it. It was stupid. It'll happen.
Food, says Bull. He goes over. It's good.
Yeah, Magnus is starting to...
We could know that boat going to go boom.
Yeah.
Such a dangerous device.
Yeah.
Then no good. Nick my assage.
It's a shame what happened.
Magnus, give me a bluff check. let's see if you're
I
diehard.
didn't say anything wrong. Hold on, who's Magnus? Oh god damn it! It's gonna be like a
wisdom based.
Master Magnus.
I'm gonna give because Magnus right now pulled them through such horrible things. I'm gonna give you a +8 to your bluff check at this point, representing that you're trusted and
17.
Is your charisma 10? Is that why you're only rolling a +8?
Shut up. Hey, it's not negative, all right?
Okay, Fleas is none the wiser.
All right, let's see if Sona,
You
smart
laugh.
bard-
You want to know Magnus' stats? 20, 18, 18, 10, 10.
Okay. This whole sort of conversation's a little too subtle for Bull, so he's just not even getting a roll. And and then Zor, I don't think he has his skills checked.
Where are the cameras? Marty.
Oh, we're not in the... They can't see our beautiful faces,
Can't
Marty.
see. Oh, my baby face not
What
showing.
happened?
Oh,
VC,
no.
VC, no.
You're right.
All right.
Where's the beautiful me?
But all of my important acting through the visual cues was missing.
I know, I was flexing
All
like a madman. I was working out my legs, so I was flexing my biceps.
Screen capture.
Oh, that hurts my brain.
That's right, because I'm Magnus.
You mean hamstrings. You flexed your hamstring.
I was making all my legs.
All right, just give my computer a moment here. Everything is frozen. We'll continue talking.
Is it almost gnomish in its level of frozen?
I was about to say it, but I didn't.
I know.
Yep.
I had self-control.
I didn't.
Yep.
I started tasking.
Did you tell Jessica I said she was Santa Claus, or?
I did not mention that you said she was Santa Claus.
Cool,
But
cool. I might have gotten hit somehow.
sometimes
My wife would have come down and hit me. It's like Jessica said, smack you.
Fair enough.
right. So there are their
Exert that.
faces. That's good.
Woo.
Well, let's get my
Oh,
mod
we're
down
gone.
here.
Oh, we're back.
We're there. Yay! We're
Hola.
gone. Oh, we're
Hola,
back.
amigo.
Oh, so your latency is less than mine.
Yeah, it's because I'm better than you.
Shit. I hate you.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, so good.
Okay.
Oh,
Right. So, Marty.
All right. So there are
Let's get
there are
out. Let's
lovely
do something
mugs.
quick.
change the subject. Go.
All right. So Magnus is like, yeah, who would have known? And
What did they roll?
none of them got above 18.
Okay.
Good.
Good. I like
Wait, Zor does get a roll. He is interested in the food as well. The food was a good distraction.
Let's not talk about this again.
You can hear. All right, nothing suspicious there. The portcullis is actually dropping, and some of the outside doors are opening, so that you notice that there's people have taken to the landing where the gladiators kind of disappear into, and are pushing against some of the guards. They're actually chanting Magnus, and they're trying to get at you. You have, for the first time really in your life, whether you want to admit it or not, fanatics. Magnus! There's people throwing flowers in and people trying to reach in. The guards are pushing them back.
Yeah, Magnus will go to the gate and like, yeah, like carrying an axe like over one hand, like slapping their hands like, ah, but not too hard to smack to break them.
Okay, the portcullis is there. The guards are like, oh, "Sir, please get back!" As the crowd is pushing
Magnus
against
knows
these
to
guards.
always win the crowd.
You notice that like somebody pushes a flower into your hand.
Ah, yeah, bring it with me. Yeah, puts it in his helmet. Ah.
Okay, so you've got a rose in your helmet.
It was for you.
While Magnus is distracted, there is a door opening on the other side of the chamber. This is not leading out to where the crowds are, but leading into deeper within the labyrinth underneath the Tri-Colosseum.
In this area where we're eating, there's only the 4 plus Magnus.
Yes.
Did the monk and the paladin and the child leave already?
There are other entrances. You wouldn't have all your sports teams come in and out of the same entrance.
The
Big boss,
stadiums
what's
that
up?
do that learn the
What's up,
hard
big
way why
boss?
you don't do that.
Yeah.
There are other
Oh,
entrances.
they continued the fight inside.
Given they probably know more secrets about the ins and outs of the Tri-Colosseum than anyone else does because they live in the labyrinth.
Right.
But a door opens and there's a servant that comes in. He is a slave. He's got the placard of a slave. He's a halfling. He seems well dressed though. He's got a bit of a yellow tunic on. He's clean. His halfling feet are combed.
Oh, perm. Not bad.
He has a small black envelope in his hands. He seems to be waiting. Bull turns around and just looks at him. And he turns around and he's like full of grease from the pig that
Yeah.
he's devouring.
Please.
It's all for you, yeah. Because of you, we survived. Thank you. And Magnus is gonna walk over to him.
Okay.
You are Magnus, are you not?
Yeah, little child, I'm Magnus.
He frowns at the little child remark. He kind of cocks his head off to the side.
Oh, look at your feet. No, my apologies.
Yes, well, my master would like to invite you and your stable owners, as well as all the gladiators that participated in this glorious fight today, to a personal celebration at his palace. Here is your invitation. You are still a master of the Conclave of Crimson Sands, are you not? He's like, he doesn't hand it, like, you realize that he should have verified that first.
You're looking at Master Magnus.
Yes. Well, then this invitation is extended to you and the masters of your ludus.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. The thing is high quality black stained paper. It has a golden. You don't know how they got gold wax, but it's got like a golden seal in it.
Fleas is going to sniff the halfling.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's fine.
He
He's
backs
fine.
away
Don't worry
and
about
closes the door. He closes the door quickly now that he's.
What? It smells nice.
it. Please get to eating. Come on. I haven't seen food this good in a long time.
It doesn't look like that slave is used to having fleas, says Sona.
Oh,
His smile-
always
please,
got
you can't
fleas.
get rid of them.
His smile disappears into his wine cup. Bull scratches his head a little bit, not quite getting the metaphors about fleas. He ends up just scratching a bunch.
Also, nice flea.
Yeah, you gotta shave.
No, he's not saying that.
Yeah,
Bull.
we gotta shave. Yeah,
Just keep eating.
we
Just
shave.
keep eating, Bull. Yeah.
Okay, he smiles that he's been included. Bull ain't too bright. He really likes animals though, and he's really good at animals. He's almost magical with animals.
Oh, Magnus likes his gladiators. Before this, these guys went through it. He has respect for them, but they're still gladiators. Still his gladiators.
I assume that means that these two are no longer Tempi. He points to Fleas and Zor. Zor stiffens his back with pride.
Big
Oh, chewing on a big like hunk of meat.
We'll have to go through the ceremonies for them later, yeah? You've done well. You've survived. I'm proud of you.
Yes, it will be good to have you at our side on a more permanent basis. However, how is our ludus supposed to continue with only 4 or 5 gladiators? A full roster for us was 8, and it included 8 tempi to fill in when some of us were ill or had fought too much. 5, we're going to be put through the ringer, nay?
I like you. You're a smart one, yeah. You see, from this fight, we're gonna make a lot of money. So we'll be able to get more gladiators. It'll be great, fantastic. So don't worry about it. We'll leave it to the other masters and we'll get more gladiators. We'll be bigger. You'll get some rest now.
Very well.
I'll look after you, like I did over there.
May the laughing rogues smile upon us all. Then, and he pours some more wine into his cup, and
That
then
didn't
goes
laugh
around.
and smile.
Yeah, we're gonna fight again.
No, not now. We're gonna get some rest. We have to heal. Fortunately, we lost our healer.
Can I fight? Can Bull fight next time? I miss Bull. Bull's good. Bull.
Yeah, no, for sure. We need him. He's a big animal. You two fight like very well together. Next fight won't
What
be
if
like
we
this.
make a bull gladiator?
Keep eating, please.
I don't think that they make animals. Aside
Oh,
from
we'll give him a
animals,
big hat. It'll be nice.
I don't think that animals count when it comes to taking the gladiator's oath. But there are beasts in the ring all the time. Pot animals aside, he says.
Let Magnus worry about these details. Bull, make sure your bull is with you.
Yeah, Bull's at home. He's good, Bull.
We'll bring him with us wherever we go, yeah?
Okay. All right, so Magnus, you go back to the master's area, or are you leading your men back to their ludus? What's your next step?
The
after
master's
fight?
area. So, well, they can head back to the So generally, what happens here? This was the last fight. Are people around for a while, or do they disperse right away?
Yeah, this is the last. This was the last fight of several days of hard gaming, and lots of death. They are mingling out.
So these guys, if these guys would be led back to their barracks, right?
Yeah, your Ludis's guards are ready to take them back.
Okay, we'll let
to
them
the
take back,
compound.
and I will head to the masters.
Okay. All right. After the fight, what does Ashoka and the others do? Nyx is now with Phineas. Nyx is inside of the familiar bag. It seems to know that it did a bad thing and is trying to hide. Prentice has gone full on ego, like he is rubbing it in.
Ashoka is going to try to get Phineas out of this place.
Okay.
And is going to leave Sir Prentice to his glorious demise through his own ego.
Okay. By this point in time, Theodore Esteban Valencia III Esquire is drunk, but he does see you through his drunken gaze leaving. So Prentice Pennywise does not notice.
Okay, I'll take a moment to have a quick one with Theodore.
Okay.
I don't know how you did it.
He looks more staggeringly drunk than usual.
You're just not... wasn't how I was supposed to go,
He says into his cup.
We should have a drink to celebrate the occasion, no?
Yeah, I'm sure the wine will flow.
More
Okay.
We'll have more seasons under that nincompoop.
Ashoka has a +4 bonus versus poison, like a +4 racial bonus to resist poison or poison type of stuff, as well as stuff against mind affecting.
Ashoka doesn't like heavy drinking alcohol just because it takes a lot.
Yep.
For Ashoka.
So Ashoka is going to have a few rounds with Theodore to make certain he's good and inebriated so that he can provide no reason for the rest of the event. Just let Sir Prentice make a dick of himself.
All right, so give me a sense motive.
Oh, you scared the crap. Okay. Hi, buddy. Come here. Come here. There we go. So,
11. I rolled poo.
You don't know whether it's because he's just staggeringly drunk and he's kind of a miserable person, or
sword?
It's a knife.
whether he doesn't like what happened.
Yep. He seems sad.
He seems upset at the win.
Okay. That's fine.
Although you're not able to distinguish why, and he's way too drunk to even provide answers.
Once he's that well drunk, it's
Yep.
a good time to.
He mutters
our way,
about the masters, how inconceivable all of this was. Nyx seems to have put the word not inconceivable, but nincompoop into everyone's vocabulary around there. And so he nincompoops a few times, and then like you have it straight there, little boy. He's that sloppy stage.
Perfect. We now leave him to whatever happens to him in his sloppy drunkenness in the middle of a crowded arena.
Yeah, as people are kind of shuffling out. Where do you go next? You do see that some of the others have gathered on the inside of the arena. There are rooms back here that are probably Imperials and officials only.
Yep. Where is? Yeah. Okay. Vogel was the one I was like, is okay there.
But his
They're off doing things.
wizards and guards have remained.
Yep.
However, you do see that there is a man, a halfling man that is watching you. Give me a knowledge nobility.
Okay. Why are you
Is it
watching me? 10. Not rolling great.
10.
You're
Okay.
Very important, noble.
There are two halflings that are chatting with each other. One, you don't know the name of the less sickly looking one. And this halfling you saw sitting beside Vogel von Krakenstein.
Okay.
But they're having a chat. He's almost still hiding from like what's going on outside, and there's a ring of guards around.
Creepy McCreeperson, yes.
You know that you know of the practice of many nobles have educated halflings as like almost like personal servants.
All right.
They tend to the household because that's what halflings are good at. They're sneaky.
Ashoka will attempt to memorize their faces, and give me 1 second. I'll see if Phineas has knowledge nobility. If he does, I might go, "Yo, Phineas, who are they?"
Yeah, Phineas is keeping him to himself, and he's trying to look inconspicuous, although him just sort of off to the side is very conspicuous. Like, he's not a very...
Yeah, okay, we're getting Phineas. We're getting Phineas to a place where he's less like, I did a bad thing!
right.
What
Sitting
do you mean
alone...
the ship exploded? I know nothing about a ship exploding!
Sitting alone, not talking to anyone, and just sort of not doing anything.
Yep. We're gonna escort Phineas back to the. We're gonna go get Phineas a fix. Is what we're gonna do.
All right, so you're gonna escort him back to the master's area.
Yeah, we're gonna take him to his bed where he can doze a day away, or two.
Okay. You do go back to the master's apartments, and you eventually run into Magnus, who is still injured from the fight. But he is there talking with some of the house guards, and the guards are like asking him about the fight. Some of them saw it, some of them didn't.
Yeah, and then they came at us, but we saved them from the sharks, and we pulled them on that side. And then when they came out to the other boat, we're come on, we start climbing.
Think that you hear this going.
Okay, some of the guards take a step back from your conversation and continue their patrol or what they were doing, and you realize that Ashoka and Phineas arriving meant that some of the guards have other duties.
You!
Phineas seems Phineas seems it's like you're all standing around chatting and you're like working at like some service job and your manager turns around and everyone that starts saying that is busy. We've all done that. Phineas seems oblivious to the fact that that was the reason why the reason why it happened.
Perhaps we should take this conversation inside. Great champion of the arena.
Max picks up an axe or something. One of his axes that comes in. He's lying around somewhere.
I will be with you shortly, is what Phineas says.
Take your time, Phineas. You've had a trying day.
He pauses for a moment. He wonders why you're being nice to him, and then just nods and then wanders off.
You deserve a break.
Snake man. Snake man.
What? Wait, little fucker!
I know, it scrambles into the backpack and it is cowering. Batman! Phineas removes himself from any of that sort of loud shouting and aggressiveness. He does a little scurry in his steps.
Magnus, congratulations on our victory.
Now you know the true power of Magnus.
Yes, the stories I heard of your previous victories always left me thinking it was something of a fluke, some sort of story built up over the ages of what was merely an accident in the ring.
Most people don't believe it. I understand. You've seen glory firsthand.
Yes. Glory.
Although that was a massacre.
Hey, you notice
troubles-
you notice tucked into his armor is this black envelope. The seal is broken. Somehow they mixed glittery gold color into the wax. It looks important.
What are you looking at? Oh yeah!
He's obviously staring at the note that's sticking out of the art. We're like,
Pulls it out. Hands it over to you. Some rich guy wants us to go to his celebration for the survivors.
a celebration for the survivors. What does it actually say?
The
That
champions.
paraphrase does not feel like what
It's a plain black envelope with some fancy embroidery on it, and there's a golden colored wax seal that hasn't been opened. You don't know what it says.
Ashoka is going to detect magic on it.
Okay. There is no magic coming off the seal.
All right.
Artifact.
It's it's an artifact. It's the only option.
Oh, wait a second. Yes, there is magic. Why not? It's a magical place. Let me
Okay.
just look up the spell Magic Boosh.
I think that was an adult film from the 70s.
It's a spell called Magic Mouth. Yeah, there's a slight illusion or glamour that is on it.
All right. Okay, 23 spellcraft.
You recognize that there's probably a magical message inside of the envelope.
Well, you
I
clear,
didn't,
Magnus. It might not repeat.
Am I what?
Please be quiet.
Yeah, I didn't open it. I figured it's important and leave it to you and some of the other ones. Man, this
It's
lies
important.
back.
We
Lies
shouldn't
back with a big jug of ale.
we shouldn't wait for the others. Ashoka will open the magic envelope.
Okay. Some big, puffy, and slightly greasy lips appear on the sort of like origamied page. It's like a 4-fold page that is stuck inside the envelope on a thick kind of cardboard paper. And it speaks in the voice of the person who cast it.
Huh.
And it begins to speak.
Is it a goober halfling voice?
Oh, it is so good to... It is so good to invite all of you, all of the masters and gladiators at your ludus, to my palace to celebrate your victory. Come ready to entertain in your finest garb, and do bring your gladiator weapons.
Oh, for
Ta-ta! And it says Legius, the fan of man,
Is this
and it says tomorrow's date
good?
and 3 p.m. and then P.S. Do not be late.
3 p.m.
Yep.
Cane covered fat man. It's a heart attack waiting to happen.
Magnus needs 40-some... I don't know how much damage I've got fucking cut left.
You got healed by paladins. You have 17 damage left.
Oh, that's right.
Um,
yes, you're right.
It's unfortunate that you let our priest
Fucking
die.
It wasn't my doing. The stinking chicken.
He was killed by a chicken?
You know what I'm talking about.
I
What the
have
hell
no
happened?
idea what you're talking about. There was a horrible accident, and the boat exploded during a very... a fracas.
Oh, yeah. I got too carried away and I just
got everyone charging forward. Then something happened.
Yes, a horrible accident. That if you wish to maintain your newfound reputation, should not be spoke of again.
Pulls him in. I'm gonna have me fucking chicken wings.
That can be arranged if that'll satisfy you.
Specific ones.
All right, so Magnus goes to the kitchen and eats the wings off of several bird-like creatures. You're pretty sure one of them says, "You prefer the wings, sir?" This is some cook. Have you tried ostrich yet? It was slaughtered in the games yesterday. He says.
How big got its wings?
Oh yeah, in ours Moors, in the arena Moors, on the previous day before that, a bunch of animals were slaughtered, like
Imperial French.
like 50 ostriches were let loose, and a bunch of gladiators slaughtered the ostriches because it was fun, and then the meat was given away or was cooked on the spot, and then I guess one of the servants in this household claimed some of the meat.
I'll give it to the master.
Yeah.
Servant.
Just picture 50 ostriches running around in chaos and people shooting arrows
it
and hacking.
sounds awesome,
It's just-
actually.
Yeah.
I imagine the archery practice that you would be able to demonstrate, like the high-level archer, just like...
Yep. But you do you like
Feed it.
do you like roast ostrich, Magnus? Because the chicken wings are big from the ostrich.
Yeah. But
All right,
he's still
so-
hungry for different ones.
All right,
This was
so-
he hates birds from now on.
Okay.
Just fucking all birds.
There is an anthropomorphic race, or several of them that are
Chicken man.
anthropomorphic birds. No, not chicken man. They're called Aka on this world. Or the ones without wings, or that can't fly, they are called Kenku, I believe, or Tengu.
Tengu. Tengu are like the crow people.
Yeah, their old name was Kenku. But
Cool.
okay, so what are you doing in the meantime?
I'm going to try to see if I could find a healer.
Okay.
I'm gonna go and rest. It's been a long day.
A healer for Magnus is what you're gonna do.
I need a healer for Magnus, as well as any of our... Like,
The
I'm
other
assuming
gladiators.
our other gladiators are going to have to fight, because they basically said, bring your gladiators and their pointy bits. So we're just going to assume they're going to have to use the pointy bits that they're bringing with the gladiators. It's a good assumption.
We're bringing bull.
Yeah, your gladiators.
bulls.
Your gladiators will probably be half hit points apiece at this point.
So I'm looking for a priest that can channel positive energy.
Yeah.
Got it. So you're gonna pay for healing.
I don't know if I'm necessarily going to pay for healing. I might charm a healer, bring him down.
All right,
like
so
your style.
See what we find.
give me a you know where the chapels and churches of the five-faced god are. However, the holy areas for the old gods, you have to go to the registered places where they're all allowed to worship, and it would be a grab bag of priests that you'll be able to find.
Okay, so if I was paying, it'd be the five-faced god. But since I'm not planning on paying, we'll go to the old gods.
Got it. Okay.
Those guys can't complain too much.
Just give me a D4. Actually, a D3 because this is probably, and then three D9s. And I'm just gonna look up Greyhawk deities.
742.
He found 742 clerics.
Okay.
In
You
1 hour.
find a priest of Hextor who is
Empty follows Magnus.
who is giving a small speech to people on the virtues of war. That was the 7. 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a man who is there selling potions. It looks like he's trying to position Bakob, the Lord of Magic, as also the Lord of Alchemists. There's nobody at his counter. And then 2 would be there's somebody who is doing